start with you then.
Obstacles to gender equality in Scotland. I have to say the biggest one is the lack of women prepared to step forward and take action. It's incredibly difficult to get women to stand for election in the union for any position, and I think that it repeated throughout society, partly because of the cultural thing that women were in the home looking after the children and the men took action, but also partly because women genuinely feel that they're not sure that they're able to do these things. You have to convince women that they're able, and then they'll take action. If you don't go through this process of convincing them that they're able to do it, they will not step forward and put their names up for election for anything or to be on a committee. Solutions?
Yeah.
Training and encouragement. And also providing facilities like childcare facilities, creches and support so that working mothers can also be trade unionists and get involved.
Do you have anything to add?
Yes, what's interesting about Scotland is that on paper and legislatively there should be no barriers, because we do have a good solid legislative programme to support women and gender. We also have a good solid legislative programme to support LGBT, anti-racist issues. So we then have to go beyond that, and as Anne has already said, what are the structural barriers? What are the attitudinal barriers? What are the policy barriers that are still there? We have gender impact assessments, which are particularly helpful, and I do think that may well prove to be one of the solutions to promoting women in the workplace and also within the union and also within society. Because one solution which was particularly helpful in terms of domestic violence and violence against women was a massive campaign, a massive public campaign saying that fundamentally this is wrong, no excuses. It was on television, it was in newspapers, it went into the unions, it went into schools and it went into communities. And what we tried to do in partnership, unions, governments and employers, we say this is fundamentally wrong, this is an issue of social justice and therefore we will no longer tolerate it. We also do this in relation to LGBT issues. We now have posters all over Scotland saying he's gay or she's lesbian, go over it, what's the problem? We're also moving towards legislation that allows civil partnerships, and we are breaking down barriers. I'm not saying that they are no longer there, they clearly are still there. If you look at the number of women who do not participate, particularly in local government, which I think, as Anne has already pointed out, is a major problem. We are trying to take steps to remedy this. But some of it is, quite frankly, not just childcare, it's the attitude that women at all points of their life will be carers, whether it's elder care, childcare, or the number of young girls who are at school who are actually looking after elderly parents. So there are a number of barriers still there, and even although you have a very good legislative base and a commitment and a consensus that this is a question of social justice, we still have barriers there. So the solution is to continue, not make assumptions that everything is sorted because legislation is there, but to make sure that this is an ongoing, deep-rooted commitment across society to social justice.
Thank you very much. What about Francis? What's the situation like in the Netherlands?
I think it's about the same situation that you told us about. The legislation is provided, but the implementation is not always what that should be. Many women in the Netherlands are working part-time, and only last 2 years there's made a big effort to get better possibilities for childcare and childcare after school and something like that. And I think that the combination of working and tasks at home, and sometimes for elder women that they have to look after their old parents, that make it difficult to get also involved as active member in a union. That's where we first stand to promote or to support the participation of female members in our union.
Thank you very much.
I have a question. In fact, isn't that part of a problem, the idea that it's women who have to take care of the parents, elderly parents, it's women that have to take care of the children, and therefore providing childcare solutions for women will not roots the original problem.
Right. Yeah. The whole issue of family care needs to be addressed, and the whole definition of what constitutes a family needs to be addressed. There are still quite clear stereotypes about the roles of men and women in society.
Yeah. Sometimes the parents are working 4 days a week, so they have the one day to be father to take care of the children, but also then the first responsibility for the family is with the mother and not with the father.
Exactly.
There's also, I think, a problem the other way. If you have a father who has responsibility for children, have an example of this, and because he is the carer at weekends of his children, he's not able to be involved in union duties, but it should make no difference. If you are a parent of a small child and you want to be involved, the creche facilities should be open to whoever you are, in the same way as facilities should be there to support carers of elderly relatives, whether they're male or female, to provide them with an opportunity to participate in life, not just in union, but in the whole of life. But it's a cultural change, and we've begun the process. We've got the legislation, but the hearts and minds takes a little bit longer.
Yes, and I think it's incumbent upon us as educators to use our role, our experience within the trade union movement and at meetings such as this, to go back into our schools and make sure that our colleagues challenge the stereotypes, don't behave towards young people in a stereotypical manner, challenge notions of boys subjects, girls subjects, and all of these stereotypes that prohibit the learning experience, and therefore the life experience of all young people.